So here's the thing. I don't know how many people in this room today have an idea of flag state seafarer documents. So can I see, lift up your hands and tell me who knows what a flag state seafarer documents? Good, interesting. So having that spherical knowledge, I need you to visualize a scenario, okay? So you're a seafarer. And today, the 31st of January, 2024, a few hours before you fly out from your home airport here in Larnaca to join the vessel MV SAFETY4SEA, which is flying the Republic of Cyprus flag, and it be calling the port of Tanjung Pelegas in Malaysia. So we all know where that port is, and I know you very well how congested that port is and how long it takes for a crew member to join a vessel at that port. So you're joining as a chief officer for a 6-month contract, and you're packing your hand luggage. Can you please tell me what are the 3 major things you need to pack in your hand luggage and you can't forget? 1, your passport. 2, you're okay to board, or your LOG, or a visa. And 3, your certificates. All your certificates and endorsements. From your seaman's book, to your COC, to your CSC endorsement, to your SSO, your GMDSS, bravo. I see a lot of people knowing their documents because they belong to a flag. Okay, so you've packed these 3 things, right? And I hope you haven't forgotten about them. All right. So you do know that if your documents are not updated, you haven't done any refreshers course, and your passport isn't valid for more than a year, what's going to happen? Do we know? If you join the vessel and one of your documents or your passport is not valid, what happens? What happens to your ship at the next PSC control, at the PSC inspection? Exactly. So we get onto the plane and we fly, okay? We arrive, we sign on, no issues. We have a 24-hour exchange between the old chief officer and the new chief officer, and we're off. And the next port of visit, where you will discharge whatever you've taken, is Santos, Brazil. How many days do you need from Malaysia to Santos? Stelios, how many days? 1.5, 45 days, plus or minus, 10 knots. Are we okay with that? Okay, so 45 days later, we arrive, okay? And port state control comes on board after you've burst a container terminal. What do they ask? Kirebe Surya, what do they ask? Ship certificates? Crew certificates. Okay, and who does all this on board? The one and only chief officer. Joke. Chief officer and the captain. So everything's put on the table, and the inspector says, okay, one by one, let's check the dates, expiry dates. And you, as a chief officer from Cyprus, has a UK COC certificate. As of 2021, and I think the gentleman here, if he does have a UK COC, do you have your new card? It looks like that. Okay, so it's According to the United Kingdom, as of 2021, it's issued these cards, as we have in Cyprus, our ID cards or license. It's very small. So on the front part, it's the expiry date and your photo, and on the back, there's a QR code. Okay? So the inspector says, where's your COC? So I tell him, or you tell him, scan the code. And you can see the verification of my COC. He says, okay. The Brazilian guy goes with his phone, error. Try it again, error. The third time, he gets frustrated and says, you know what, Captain, I'm leaving. You've got 48 hours, fix it. Find the original of verification of your COC of your chief of engineer and come back to me. This is a deficiency, deal with it. So what happens next? It's a Saturday. So the UK offices only open up on a Monday morning, and crew managers on a standby. But what can he do? Nothing. So I guess either there was no internet connection, no proper connectivity, and at the same time, the Brazilian authorities were, regardless to say, naive. They wanted everything on paper, checklist, done, not there. Okay, so we've got 48 hours to solve the issue. What do? Vessel will if we do not fix the deficiency within those 48 hours, the vessel will be detained. And detention means mayday, mayday for everyone at the office, and the money is gone, counting every single day. So basically, guys, this is reality. Global digitalization trends and modernization are major issues which all the maritime industry stakeholders are facing today, especially seafarers who are still required by international regulations to carry original certificates evidencing their qualifications and their validity, either to recruiters, to managers, or to port authorities, even in an era where we're doing everything digitally. So, the status quo is, with regards to the law, is as follows. You can QR code, you can scan the two major laws which are today in practice. So the IMO FAL Facilitation Committee Convention released a set of guidelines to facilitate the use and acceptance of electronic certificates of seafarers for all the parties concerned and member stakeholders to the STCW Convention, especially for those who are involved in the process of issuance, maintenance, endorsement, and revision of electronic certificates. In its annex, the convention contains standards that member states should, that's the most important word, should, not must, should. And then the necessary actions that should be taken at their national level to ensure that adequate legislation is in place for the use and acceptance of electronic certificates as may be required. So it's not mandatory, and at the same time, there is no time frame for any of the states to implement these regulations. I don't know if you're aware that as of 1st of January 2024, the IMO FAL Convention has also made mandatory the maritime single window approach. So basically what it says is that all authorities in all ports around the world must exchange information electronically on arrival, on stay, and on departures of ships at ports. I think this marks a significant step in the acceleration of digitalization in shipping today. But what is standard practice? Everyone knows today that only a handful of port state control authorities globally are accepting digital certificates. The majority of inspectors just want their lives to be simple as possible. All hard copies of certificates put to them on the table, clearly marked with the name and the expiry dates. Yes, quite a few flag states have their own online data system. For example, the lady sitting opposite me. So the platform where any crew manager, any filing agent can log in and apply for the issuance of the various certificates, endorsements of the seafarer who will be joining one of their vessels. By, of course, uploading all the relevant requirements, needed certificates of each seafarer every single time. Anyone who is in the crewing department or anyone who is in the flag department, yeah, I know, but I'm going to use my time.
Time's up.
Doesn't matter. Can I continue?
Can I give her my extra minute, please?
So everyone knows over here that it takes quite a long time to upload each seafarer's certificates. And then after uploading them and after applying for them, the flag state needs to recheck them and then reload them. And if there are errors, to come back. Yeah, but I need my CRA. And at the same time, you ask for a down payment. So we need both to work and at the same time. So less hassle, less time. So what are the key issues that we're facing today with regards to digitalization of flag state seafarer certificates? One, as you can see on the board, standardization. You can read it because I don't have the time. Cybersecurity. Infrastructure and connectivity. That's where the problem was at Santos. No connectivity. So again, seafarer is the one who's in trouble. But it's not the seafarer. We don't care if the seafarer loses his job and goes home. Point is for the vessel to sail. We don't want deficiencies. We need training and familiarization and the legal and regulatory frameworks. As the IMO convention sets it forth, for international shipping to thrive, a unified global approach to facilitation is vital. So, is the scope of the IMO with regards to the maritime single approach concept, in other words, a worldwide, centralized, record-keeping, common data model, digital platform to resolve all issues which are faced today by all parties involved, from seafarers to issuers, to regulators, to crew managers, and to any third parties. So, the common data model, what do you have in your mind as a common data model? What do we need in that common data model? We need people, we need providers, not to work solely, not to work one by one. As last week, Mark O'Neill had mentioned during his speech, we are the only industry that are not united. We all work alone. No, working alone is not to resolve our issues. So basically, we need that common model where everybody can log in, everybody at the same time can insert their data. Yes, cybersecurity is something which is vital, but we have the needs. We can do it. We've done it, we've proven it, and I think we've reached a point where we don't have to prove ourselves with regards to cybersecurity. Now, to what extent we are able to reach that, everything is you start and you follow and you criticize. So, in other words, we need everyone to collaborate. If we do not collaborate between us, it's not going to work. So the conclusion for me is we navigate together. I know the task ahead in facing the issues are very challenging, and realistically speaking, progress is likely to be very slow. All flag states will need to introduce or amend at national level and then at international level. Reciprocal agreements and collaboration among flag states, seafarers, maritime organizations, and technology providers to develop standardized solutions will be required. Of course, the most important factor is cybersecurity. And because I'm an optimist, as I had mentioned before to Stelios, consistent and unified incremental steps by all stakeholders will deliver tangible results, hopefully in the near future. And as Neil Armstrong once said, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Thank you.